Tonight, Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield is in the backyard with the very latest on the cold and the prospect for snow and ice. Dan.
Well, Lisa, I have looked at some of the new computer guidance coming in tonight, and as I thought it was trying to get rid of this cold air too quickly, I think the situation is now deteriorating rapidly. I'm beginning to think we are going to see a major ice storm across parts of the Tennessee Valley, along with the northwest corner seeing significant snow accumulations. We're talking the possibility here of an inch of ice accumulating on bridges, roads, trees, power lines by Friday morning. This will all start tomorrow afternoon. It may not end until sometime late Friday or early Saturday. Then the coldest air we've seen in a couple of years at least will come down here. We're going to be looking at some of the new computer guidance in the next couple of minutes, and also after the weathercast tonight, for those of you watching Letterman, at about 11:30 to 11:35, we're going to have a special update on the weather situation. Then you won't miss any of Letterman. That's an open spot in Letterman that we're going to use to update you on the weather situation after we look at some more of the computer guidance. We'll be back in a few minutes, Lisa, and we'll show you what's happening. Maybe some precip that's not reaching the surface with that upper air disturbance. Here's the setup. Cold Arctic air covers most of the Tennessee Valley. Another surge on the way. In the upper levels of the atmosphere, though, the winds are out of the west. You can see that on the satellite. And here comes a big storm out of the west, going to cause a low to develop at the surface, bring moisture up and over the heavy cold air, and that will set us up for rain, freezing rain or snow. What you get depends on what the temperatures are, not at the ground, but upstairs, about 3,000 to 5,000 feet. If those temperatures at 5,000 feet are below freezing, you're going to get snow. If they're above freezing, you're going to get freezing rain or sleet. Just all depends on the setup here. Tonight and tomorrow, we'll be watching as this low develops. By afternoon, I think freezing rain, snow, and sleet will spread into northwest Alabama and from Nashville over to Memphis, and it will continue to increase overnight and may last a good chunk of Friday. Variable clouds, though, tonight and cold. Could see the moon up there a few minutes ago. We'll go 17 Waynesboro, no lower than 21 in Huntsville, 26 in Coleman. Again, the precip will, what's it going to be like in your backyard? Here's a map. Looking at some late guidance, though, this may be too optimistic. Mainly significant ice and snow by Friday, but starting late tomorrow afternoon across all of our viewing area in southern Tennessee, except maybe extreme eastern Franklin County, Marshall counties as well. How much are we talking up here? I'm not ready to make a forecast on that yet. We'll do that tomorrow morning. I will tell you this, and I shouldn't. One of the computer models tonight is forecasting 15 inches in parts of Tennessee. 15 inches. I think that's overdone, but I would not be surprised to see 7 or more in parts of our viewing area, maybe an inch of ice in spots. 33 Cherokee tomorrow, the ice likely if you get to 33, and that's doubtful. Lutz at 31, Etheridge 30. They'll get above freezing, I think, in Joppa and Shiloh. High Top won't. You're going to have some problems up there at that elevation with an icy mix beginning. Here's the 5-day forecast. Friday, snow likely, ending as snow showers Friday night or Saturday morning, and then the bottom drops out. Very bitter cold Arctic air comes in along with a cold north wind. Wind chills could reach 20 to 30 below, and it still looks to me by Sunday and Monday we'll be down into the low teens or maybe in some spots the single digits. Across northern portions of the Shoals and Lauderdale, Winston County, also in Lawrence and Giles County, that is freezing rain and drizzle over there. Take a look at the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. This is what we call the composite reflectivity. You're looking at an area of moderate to light freezing rain and sleet moving into the Shoals and West Tennessee. Heavy freezing rain and sleet now moving into northern portions of Mississippi, and it goes way back into Texas. El Dorado, Arkansas, which is that area of patchy blue you see there in southeast Arkansas, they're reporting thunder, lightning, and heavy sleet storms right now. This system will move in here. The roads are going to start to get bad in the next 2 to 4 hours in the Shoals, if not less than that, and then across the rest of the area later on. Now, some areas of our viewing area will escape the worst of this, and we're going to have a map for you in just a few minutes to show you just what areas will get the brunt of this storm. Here's a view from Montesano Mountain right now, and as we show you that, I'll tell you it's 28 and sleeting up there. 31 degrees in Huntsville, dew point at 26, the wind's calm, pressure steady. The Shoals has rain with freezing rain in some spots, 32, dew point at 22, a light north wind. Gadsden is 29, and Fayetteville 28. Lawrenceburg, Tennessee right now, 27 with some freezing rain in the area. Jackson, Tennessee has 27 degrees. The dew point there down to 17. I have a feeling they're going to start to really ice up. Over in Tupelo, Mississippi, they have freezing rain in 31, and Memphis right now has freezing rain 28 degrees. The western part of the Tennessee Valley within a couple of hours is going to be an icy mess, and then it's going to spread off to the east. Let's show you what's going on right now. First of all, this is Doppler 19 radar. This is freezing rain now across most of Lawrence County, Lawrenceburg, Loretto, on up toward Etheridge, Tennessee. Also just north of Fayetteville, on up north of Lynchburg, patches of freezing rain. This is freezing rain, changing to some patches of rain, then back on off to the west. Well, let's go ahead and show you the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. And there it is, and look what's coming our way. Quite a bit of it, as a matter of fact, and that's going to continue to move right on through the area tonight. The boundary between the freezing and the non-freezing precipitation is extending from about right here in Franklin County, right across to just south of Huntsville, and then right on up to just west of Chattanooga. To the north of there is where the freezing is going to start off, and then it will slowly overnight spread south. Look at this. Look at this batch of rain. Right in here, this is thunder, lightning, and sleet falling in southeast Arkansas. Moving on off to the east, this is moderate snow in northwest Arkansas and Oklahoma. And look, the moisture still from Texas. This is what we call overrunning now. We have that low layer of cold air over us, warm, moist air coming in aloft. Now, this freezing line, if it moves to the north, some spots that might start to get a little ice will get better, but eventually it's all going to start pushing down to the south, and I think most of the Tennessee Valley is going to see ice, sleet, and eventually snow. And the further north and west you are, the worse it will be. Some areas could see between 4 and 6 inches of snow when this all ends. Look at it on the satellite. See these clouds moving south right there? Oh, wait, that's the new batch of polar air coming in that's really going to be brutal. But the moisture streaming in here makes me think, looking at this satellite, this may not end until Saturday morning. So it's going to be a very long duration winter storm event. And Birmingham also put out a winter storm watch all the way down to Chilton County north of Birmingham, or rather north of Montgomery, because of this. Here are the numbers, I think, for Huntsville. We'll be right around freezing at midnight with rain and freezing rain in the area. By sunrise, the rain will be changing to sleet and snow down to 30. By 5 o'clock and during the day tomorrow, periods of sleet and perhaps some heavy snow, 26. Then snow showers tapering off tomorrow night down to 25. Although Saturday morning we may still see some snow showers. We'll go for 31 in the morning, Huntsville, 27 in Waynesboro, Iuka. A significant ice and sleet storm for you overnight. And then here is the backyard, kind of just, here's what we expect, okay? Sleet, freezing rain, snow, and severe icing through 1 o'clock from the shoals, just north of the shoals, on up across western Tennessee. Icy roads developing and maybe getting very treacherous. Lincoln County, Tennessee, back down to Huntsville, and then on back off toward the west, with spots of ice in southern Lawrence County down toward Decatur and Coleman. And then during the day tomorrow, all this mess will start pushing to the south and east. Here's your backyard. 3 to 7 inches in parts of the shoals in Lawrenceburg, Collinwood. 28 in the morning, falling to the low 20s during the day. 1 to 4 inches, Moulton, Huntsville, Lester, Deckard, and Skyline. Moulton probably closer to an inch. 30 in the morning, 25 during the afternoon. 1 to 2 inches before it all ends Friday night down to the south and east. You're going to get the least of it, but still a significant ice event. Look at these numbers. Saturday, 25 in the morning, 19 by evening, 8 by Sunday morning. The shoals at 4, and parts of Tennessee in our viewing area near 0 by Sunday and Monday morning, with significant snow on the ground. Wind chills 50 to 60 below are possible.
Wow, I don't see this melting anytime soon either.
Not until March. No, probably in a few days. The groundhog better not even come out of his hole. 29, freezing rain about to move in there. Getting reports now of very icy roads all across South Tennessee. Roads very slick and hazardous now from Fayetteville on back over to Waynesboro and to the north and west. I imagine the roads now in this part of Lauderdale County getting very slick. Again, when the temperature's just below freezing, it's going to take a while for those roads to start to get icy, but I think it will happen. And then as you go on back to the west, there's even more of it. The freezing line right now is from near Russellville, Decatur, just south of Huntsville, to Bridgeport, and then on up between Chattanooga and Winchester in Tennessee. Moderate sleet now in Nashville, Crossville, freezing drizzle, rain and sleet. Now there's Muscle Shoals in Florence right there. See the border of Alabama. There's the counties in southern Tennessee in our viewing area. Huntsville here. There's Fayetteville. And on over toward Pulaski, you can see some pretty good patches there. This is rain, freezing rain and sleet, but mostly it's sleet and rain that's melting on contact with the ground to the south. All of our area is under, of course, a winter storm warning except parts of DeKalb. And look at all the moisture coming in from the south. This thing is going to last for at least 24 hours.
News Channel 19's Nick Emmons joins us live right now. Nick, what's the latest with I-565?
Well, just a couple of minutes ago, Jerry and Lisa, Huntsville Police making the decision to close the elevated stretch of 565 through downtown Huntsville. They'll close it from Governor's Drive all the way up to Maysville Road. They're in the process right now of putting up the barricades. I don't know if you can see behind me. That's the ramp from the Parkway southbound to 565 westbound. The barricades are already there. They're going to block them all off, so you won't be able to access the elevated roadway. They're also working right now on making a decision on whether they'll close the Parkway elevated stretch. That, I think, probably will happen pretty quick. So some problems already developing. Huntsville Police already addressing those problems.
Under a heavy snow warning. I'll get that to you in a little bit, but I've just gotten off the phone with some people over in Cherokee, and I understand now 2 inches of ice covering the roads now around Cherokee and Highway 72 from that area on over to the state line with Mississippi. I understand is just treacherous, and that's a measured 2 inches of pure ice now, and it's falling as sleet. Ice pellets is falling, and he says it's heavy, and looking at radar, I don't doubt it. That's all moving east. Also, the Shoals Airport, which is down the south end of the Shoals, has fallen to 30 degrees. So it's really going to start to ice up in the Shoals. And here in Huntsville now, ice covering cars and power lines and trees, and be ready for major power outages. As you can see, there's still a large amount of freezing rain and sleet out there. It extends all the way from the Mississippi line and over toward Iuka, Mississippi, which is just out of range, but it's still falling over there. It actually is falling all the way back to Louisiana. The heaviest right now, though, is in Lincoln County and also just west of there from Pulaski up to Linville, and temperatures up in here are in the mid-20s, between 26 and 29 degrees, so that is just glazing everything right now. Also, patches of light rain toward Coleman. In the higher elevations, that's probably beginning to freeze. Athens right at freezing. Huntsville right now at 30 degrees. And the Shoals also at 31 with freezing rain. And in Nashville now, I understand they have switched over to moderate snow. They're at 22. If a road is closed, we'll announce it. Please don't call the Highway Patrol or here to ask. If you don't see it on the screen, assume that road is open. We'll see you in a few minutes. See that? That's just ice on that. But the water in the mud is still not frozen just yet. Anything, though, that's not on the ground, right next with the mud, is frozen. Look at this. We use this to set our camera up. See the ice on this? It is just covering everything, and cars are this way right now. Okay, let's go on and show you some more stuff. Look at this. This is our tree. Can you see the ice? The limbs are all hanging way down on it. I'm just looking here. I'd say we've got at least 1/4 of an inch of ice on every branch in this tree. And as I'm talking to you right now, it's picking up and it's mixing with sleet here in Huntsville. That's already been happening in other areas. One more thing. Look at some of these little shrubs down here. Look at this. You know, I'm pounding on it. They're just frozen solid right now. You can break the ice off of it. Even Scoodles, our Easter bunny out here, our bunny. And if my cameraman can just shoot the deck here, see the sleet popping off of this? You can just see the sleet pounding off of the deck as it begins to fall. And stay right there, and I'm going to walk around you here. We're going to pan on over here and come to the thermometer. We have been stuck at 30 right there all evening. And you know what? We're going to stay stuck for the rest of the night. Then it's going to fall to about 27. It's going to change to snow. For all is said and done, from Huntsville north and west, at least 2 or 3 inches of snow, I think, is likely. In some areas, we'll get more. South and east, you're going to get some bad driving, but it won't be quite as bad.
And Satterfield, he is working hard on this one.
You know, it's odd, Dan. We talked about this the other night, but this is the worst winter all combined that I can remember around here.
It seems to be terrible, doesn't it? We've just had one event after another, and this one turns out, of course, to be the worst, I think. First of all, before we get going, before I lose it, the computer, I want to show the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. It's just an incredible picture right now. I don't know if you can see that in the control room. I hope you can. It's on Frame Sync 2, I believe. If not, we'll get it to you before the end of the newscast. But here in the backyard, freezing rain continues to fall. It's just brutal outside right now. We also have some pictures from up on top of Montesano Mountain, if we can go to those. Now, temperature up there now at 26. And it is just pretty much iced over up there, just iced over. Freezing rain and sleet continues, ice covering everything up there. And I would say Lawrence and Giles and most of Lincoln County just about the same. Now, again, that is a live picture. If we have that other camera from up there, we'll take that as well. But that's a live picture one. It's just kind of oscillating. Also, the shoal's now down to 29. If we can show you the currents, we'll do that. Then we'll go on and show you the radar here. All right, we've got a crawl here. Athens City Schools, okay, and Athens State College, Athens Bible School. Do you want me to mention that or just let that crawl? Okay, here we're going to let that run for you, okay? Let me put this down. Okay, here's radar. This is our Doppler 19 radar system. All of this is freezing rain, sleet. The northern edge is snow now. It's snowing in Nashville in 22. Back into here, sleet in Florence. Roads in North Florence, north part of the county, Lauderdale County, on up toward Waynesboro are just an icy mess. Down here near Russellville, Red Bay, it's all sleet. They have 2 inches of sleet on the ground. You'll go south of Morgan County, it's a mixture of rain and at times some freezing rain. Also, there's some rain mainly over in DeKalb County, but the northern edges and the higher elevations of Jackson County are now seeing freezing rain, especially on trees and power lines. Here in Huntsville, the roads again just wet, but that's going to change. All right, here's the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD, and take a look at this. This is just an incredible picture. Here's Huntsville. There's the shoals, and the freezing rain goes all the way back into Louisiana. As a matter of fact, central Louisiana, several stations reporting a thunderstorm in 30 degrees. I'll let you figure out what that's going to do. They even have lightning now starting to show up, and I wouldn't be surprised if before all this is said and done, we see some thunder around here. Now, it is slowly, the freezing line is basically from Coleman right up into Jackson County, back down to Franklin County. It's going to slowly move south. The snow line is from Jackson up to Nashville. It's going to slowly move south. Tomorrow morning, we're all going to switch over to snow, except maybe the southeastern corner of our viewing area. They'll stay freezing rain, and then eventually everyone will become snow. Well, here it is. You can see it goes all the way back into Texas. This mess is just going to keep going. Now, it's ended in Memphis, although they're probably going to pick up some more later on. It looks like the worst of this storm in Tennessee will be from Nashville east and then across all of the Tennessee Valley as it moves on off to the east. And this Arctic air behind it is another big story because that is incredibly cold air, the coldest since major icing across most of this area, with the roads becoming bad in Huntsville, probably in some spots north of Lawrenceburg, near Belleville, could get 7. For you, I'm going to have to be very careful because the deck is now just covered in ice out here. It has really gotten a lot worse since we came out in the backyard. Saturday, snow showers, polar air, 25 in the morning for the low, but the high will be 19. In other words, the temperature is going to fall.
In the streets, we just had a road grader, a state Department of Transportation road grader come by and try to plow some of it off. It didn't really do a real good job, but the roads are real slushy, and in a lot of places it's turned to a solid sheet of ice, and then you go from ice to a place where
with another band of heavy snow on the way to the shoals, and I'm now beginning to believe that parts of extreme northwest Alabama on up into Lincoln County and Fayetteville, Tennessee could see between 6 and 10 inches of snow before all of this ends tomorrow night. Once again, we now think that parts of northwest Alabama up into South Tennessee, including Giles, Lawrence, and Lincoln counties, and Wayne counties, but especially Lawrence, Giles, and Lincoln, could see between 6 and 10 inches of snow on top of the 2 to 3 inches of ice you already have. Once again, all of the area is going to be affected by this winter storm. You folks in Boaz, Albertville, over in southern DeKalb and Cherokee counties, Etowah County and Gadsden, Ider. If you're not getting freezing rain and sleet yet, you will, and the roads will get treacherous. It's going to get to the point where in many areas, driving on roads will not be possible for probably maybe up to 12 or 24 hours, and there will be widespread power outages, especially when the winds pick up. We're going to continue to have frequent bulletins throughout the night. This may turn out to be one of the worst winter storms and worst ice storms to hit the Tennessee Valley in at least 10 years and maybe in the last 50 to 100. We're watching the weather. Stay with us. We're going to keep you updated. We'll be right here all night. Shows still mixed with sleet at times. For those of you in Coleman and Marshall County, you're now getting freezing rain and sleet. It's going to get worse. The roads are going to ice up terribly in the next few minutes. Okay, I'm sorry. Are going to ice up terribly in the next few minutes. I expect that what we're going to end up seeing is one of the worst ice storms in parts of the Tennessee Valley in many, many years, perhaps one of the worst in recent memory. We're also looking at some very heavy snow bands possible, mainly right now, I think, in parts of Lauderdale County, then on up into South Tennessee and Lawrence and Giles in Lincoln County, in Wayne County, and also extreme northern Limestone County. We could see some amounts in excess of 10 inches, especially in the higher elevations. Down toward the Huntsville, Madison, northern Jackson County areas, we could see anywhere from 3 to 9 inches of snowfall. And then south of the Tennessee River, we're looking at more than likely 1 to 3, but I can't rule out more. But this is all going to come from western Jackson County all the way back to the Shoals. The bad roads really stop around southern Morgan County, but it's going to start to get bad down there into Coleman County, Joppa, Arab. All those areas are going to start to get bad as well before long. Here's a quick look at Doppler 19 radar. What you're looking at on this picture from, I'd say, the Tennessee River north is mainly freezing rain, sleet, and snow. From Scottsboro down to, Coleman, we're looking at a mixture of sleet and freezing rain. And then from the Fort Payne area south to Gadsden and Coleman, we're looking at rain and freezing rain. Many areas down there are now starting to pick up ice accumulations. Moderate snow heading into the Shoals now, and that will move across the area late tonight, dumping at times some very heavy snows, and the winds pick up. We could have visibilities down to less than 1/4 of a mile and blowing snow, and wind chills dropping by tomorrow afternoon down to well below 0, and by Saturday morning we could have wind chills and blowing snow, wind chills of -40 with blowing snow. It's going to be a real Arctic wonderland out there. It's going to be very dangerous as well. You're again looking at a live picture from Doppler 19 radar. We're also going to show you now, if we can, punch up Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. The colors are off on this, but we'll get that fixed for you. It doesn't matter. You can see what I'm talking about. Look at this mess coming in from the west. And this is a brand new picture. Bands of moderate snow now moving through the Shoals, moderate sleet and snow. Another big band of snow about to move in to Fayette and Marion counties. That band will drop maybe as much as 2 to 3 inches of snow and ice in just a little while in parts of Marion County. I think the Huntsville area back down to Franklin and Marion counties can see anywhere from 3 to 8 inches of snow. From Lauderdale County over to Fayetteville and Lynchburg, Tennessee, also including Pulaski, we're probably looking at snowfall amounts of 6 to 10 inches or higher, and we may have to adjust some of those amounts up here in North Alabama. We could end up seeing more than 6 inches along the Tennessee River in North Alabama. This is a dangerous winter storm. It's going to continue for the rest of the night. We're going to have frequent updates throughout. The severe winter storm continues to worsen. Moderate to heavy snows now moving into the Shoals. Sleet moving back into western Tennessee. Here in Huntsville, we're now down to 25 degrees with sleet and snow falling on top of about a ½ inch to an inch of ice. Let's show you Doppler 19 radar. We're going to talk about what's going on also down to the south. Marshall County icing up badly. Most of Jackson County now beginning to ice up. Also, over toward Russellville, heavy snow, moderate to heavy snow falling, moderate sleet to snow in the Florence area. Fort Payne, down toward Coleman, mainly freezing rain and sleet. I imagine the roads are now starting to get pretty bad. I know the trees are now falling down and knocking power lines down. Even had some unconfirmed reports now of trees falling onto houses and cars in parts of the Tennessee Valley. And this is going to do nothing but get worse throughout the evening. Let's show you the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD Doppler radar. And that is the snow. And another heavy band of snow is about to move into the Tennessee Valley. That's going to get in here probably, well, it's now here, and it's going to last for at least 3 to 5 more hours. That will take us close to dawn, the way it looks right now. In To me, I would say that will probably give us in some spots between 3 and 6 inches of snow. Now, already in parts of southern Tennessee, there is 3 inches of ice. Add another 3 to 6, you're talking 6 to 9, maybe 10 inches of snow and ice on the ground. Some areas could see more than that before this is over with. Once again, let me just, while we're on here, I'm going to pull some data off the wire and bring you up to date on a few things. For those of you who are wanting to travel to the north toward Nashville, the worst of it is southern Tennessee. Nashville is bad, but not as bad as southern Tennessee. The worst of this storm is hitting North Alabama and extreme southern Tennessee tonight. But going up toward Knoxville and the Tri-Cities, they are now reporting heavy snow in Tri-Cities, Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia, 26 degrees there. Crossville, Tennessee, up on the plateau, moderate snow in 19. Nashville has flurries in 20. The wind chill there at 2. Memphis now has sleet in 22, and northeast wind there at 17. Cloudy still in Jackson, with just to the south of Jackson, Tennessee, light snow. Chattanooga still has rain. They're at 33. Birmingham has had a thunderstorm. They're at 34. Just north of Birmingham, though, in Walker County, in Coleman County, that's where it changes over to ice, and it's going to continue. The cold air is going to continue to creep south. So those of you in our viewing area who are not getting the ice on roads, maybe just a little bit on the trees and the power lines, it's going to happen, and it's going to be bad. For those of you in Madison County, we have moderate sleet and snow falling here at the station. About a half an inch of ice coating about everything. The temperature now in Huntsville with light snow down to 25, wind chill at 8. 25 degrees means that all of that ice and the slush that was on the roads is just going to freeze over solid, and the roads are going to be a treacherous mess with frozen rain below, ice on top, and then a layer of snow on top of that. This will probably continue most of the night, begin tapering off tomorrow, but there could still see some bands of snow throughout the day tomorrow that could add additional accumulations. Once again, we're going to go by this county by county. Let's go back to the Columbus NEXRAD if we can. I'm going to talk over this for a couple of minutes. Let's start off with Lauderdale County and Florence. I think you're going to end up with about 3 inches of ice and another 3 to 6 inches of snow. Yeah, go ahead and come back to me. I'll punch that back up in a second. The computer's telling me that that's been up there for 2 minutes. It's time to reload it. In Lauderdale County, I can go to Doppler if you want, Doppler 19. If Lauderdale County, I think you're going to end up with 3 to 6 inches of snow on top of the ice. That's 6 to 9 in spots, especially North Florence and Northwest. You folks up toward Waynesboro in Tennessee there, I think you're going to see 3 to 9 inches of snow and ice, depending on where you are. And then over toward Fayetteville, you already have about 2 inches of ice and sleet. You're going to get another 6 to 8 inches of sleet and snow. That's going to give you a total accumulation in spots of 10 inches. Winchester, Franklin County, Tennessee, you could end up with as much as a foot of snow and ice on the ground when this ends. Down to the east in Jackson County, up around Skyline and High Top and the high elevations there, up above 1,200 feet, you already have about 2 to 3 inches of ice. You're going to get snow on top of that, probably 3 to 6 inches. Scottsboro down lower, ice with snow ending, maybe 2 or 3 inches of snow there. Down toward Fort Payne, it's just now really getting icy. It's going to get a lot worse. Everything's going to get glazed over there, and then eventually tomorrow morning snow will move in there. Now Coleman, Marshall County, on down toward Boaz, and even northern portions of Etowah County and northern Cherokee. It's going to start icing. It's already icing in Coleman. It's going to get worse. Over in Gadsden and northern Cherokee and extreme southern Marshall County, the ice will glaze everything within about 3 hours. Russellville, moderate snow falling. It will continue to fall. You will get somewhere between another 3 and 6 inches of snow, bringing your total maybe up to 8 inches in some spots, especially the higher elevations there just south of Russellville, you know, where it lifts up on the mountain ridge there. For Athens and Limestone County, ice has been bad. It's now changing over to snow. You have about an inch of ice in spots. I think you're going to end up with 2 to 5 inches of snow on top of that. On down toward Birmingham and Blount County, it's just now approaching freezing in Blount County. You're going to start to ice up. It will start on the trees first and fences, Then it will go to the power lines, about the same time on the power lines. Then eventually we'll start to ice up on the streets. But it's been warmer down there. Blount County is right at the edge of this warning area. You're in the winter storm warning, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time before it gets really bad there. Winter storm warning for all of North Alabama. I've talked with the Birmingham National Weather Service forecaster. They're strongly considering moving this warning all the way down to Birmingham, but they have put all of the valley, including DeKalb, Cherokee, and Etowah counties, in this winter storm warning. Memphis, talked with forecasters up to the north, and it seems now that it looks as very likely that 6 to 10 inches of snow will fall in southern Tennessee. That's with the ice and snow added together. The total accumulations could exceed 10 inches in parts of our viewing area. Heavy sleet now falling in Huntsville. Temperature here at the station now at 24 degrees. The airport reporting light snow and 25. Over in the Shoals, a mixture of sleet and snow. Temperature there now at 23 degrees. Let's show you a live look at Doppler 19 radar right now. We're still seeing quite a bit of snow out there. The heaviest stuff is now moving in from just south of Fayetteville through Madison County, and that's moderate to heavy sleet. And then also we're looking at quite a bit of sleet and maybe even some freezing rain down into Morgan County, and then freezing rain down into Coleman County. Now in Marshall County, the north end is getting freezing rain and sleet. The south end still has rain, although in some areas the freezing rain is starting to accumulate on trees, and it's knocked some trees down, which is blocking some of Highway 231 in the Boaz area, I understand. Also over in Fort Payne, a mixture of rain and freezing rain. Some areas icing up rapidly. Most of Jackson County except the Scottsboro area now. Scottsboro to the south and east, not icing, although the higher elevations probably are. But to the north and northwest of Scottsboro, it's an icy mess. Accumulations here at Channel 19, we have about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of ice on the ground. Over toward the Florence, Cloverdale area, 2 to 3 inches. Up in southern Tennessee, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of ice. What we're going to see later on today in southern Tennessee, we believe, is more snow. And we may see an additional 4 to 6 inches of snow in southern Tennessee before this ends sometime Saturday morning. In northwest Alabama, around Florence and over toward the area north of Athens, probably another 3 to 5 inches, with 1 to 4 inches from Russellville to Huntsville to Bridgeport, maybe Decatur and parts of Morgan County as well. This storm is probably going to end up bringing ice as far south as Birmingham, Gadsden, the Boaz and Albertville area is going to see ice. Also, northern Cherokee County will eventually see some ice as well. You folks in Franklin County, Tennessee can expect 6 to 10 inches of snow on the ground by late tonight. Fayetteville, Lincoln, Lynchburg, Moore County, Tennessee, another 4 to 6 inches on top of what you already have. Wayne and Giles and Lawrence, another 3 to 4 inches on top of what you already have. And that will probably come in the form of snow. Huntsville will probably have a total accumulation of over 4 inches. It could be considerably more than that, depending on the track of this upper level disturbance. The surface low, that's really the main center of this storm, is now south of New Orleans. It's going to track across Georgia, and once it gets on off the east coast, we'll see nothing but snow showers left. But that may not happen until later on tonight. As it stands right now, we're going to see a break in the action with light snow or sleet and light flurries. Then I think it may pick back up again at times during the day today. The winds will pick up. The temperatures will hold where they are or slowly fall. And by late tonight, we're talking late Friday night into Saturday morning, temperatures will probably drop down into the teens. Tomorrow morning, the winds will be out of the north at 20 to 35 miles an hour. We will have blowing and drifting snow, temperatures down into the low teens. If the winds get high enough in this dry air, we could see almost whiteout conditions in some areas, making visibilities very poor. Wind chills may go as low as 20 or 30, maybe even at times briefly to 40 below zero. Pellets falling. We're going to get a lot of stuff on the roads, but I think the ice accumulation on the power lines has stopped. Now it's going to continue down to our south of the Tennessee River. But even though we have large amounts of areas reporting large power outages, it's still not as bad as it could have been because of that. I'm going to show you in just a second the next red radar out of Columbus, Mississippi. I'm bringing that up right now. Yeah, that's coming up right now, control room, and bring it. Okay, take it now. And there it is. That is the Columbus NEXRAD. You can see a pretty good band of heavy sleet and snow, mainly sleet, just south of Madison County right now. Also, okay, will do. They're talking in my ear, folks. Also, back to the southwest of Marion County, moderate sleet and snow. And then a new band. See out to the west there in North Mississippi? That's a new band of all snow that's going to be pushing on up into Giles, Wayne, Lawrence, and maybe even Lincoln County, Tennessee, and the Shoals shortly. So that patch of stuff is going to come on by. So we're going to continue to see light to moderate snow and sleet for at least the next 6 to 8 hours. Then it may taper off some, but even tonight there could be some additional light accumulations of up to an inch or inch and a half in many areas of the Tennessee Valley, which is going to continue to make roads very dangerous, and travel is just going to be almost impossible in many areas. The brunt of this storm is going to hit central and south Tennessee and north Alabama. We already have reports up in Tennessee of 4 to 6 inches from the Nashville area onto the Cumberland Plateau and down toward the northern edges of our viewing area in Lincoln and Moore counties. Those areas mainly a mix of ice right now and snow, but do not have power. Parts of New Hope, parts of Owens Crossroads. Montesano Mountain is out. You're watching us on generator power here at Channel 19 right now. Also, in Madison, I have several reports of power outages, many reports of power outages in Morgan County, Moulton, the Lawrence County area, also getting reports of power outages there, and also trees down on power lines, and also one unconfirmed report of a tree down on a house down to the south in Marshall County.
You're watching News Channel 19 on WHNT, where local news comes first.
Rain out here right now. Take a look at the parking lot behind me. It is a solid sheet of ice. Actually, let me bend down here for just a second, Sandy, and we'll be able to show you that the ice on top here is kind of packed down so you get a little bit of traction, but roads are very...
I just, don't even attempt.
At least an inch of ice on every branch of this tree. It's all bending over. We're going to have to be very careful that this thing doesn't fall on us. It's bending all the way over the fence as well right now. Huntersville, in Scottsboro, Bridgeport area, probably a mixture of freezing rain and sleet. Then down toward Guntersville now, it's starting to believe it's probably starting to ice up seriously. Had reports all night of Morgan County of power outages, trees going down there. Now this is the first batch coming through. Now I'm going to show you the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. Yes, there is more on the way. Now this is the NEXRAD out of Memphis, Tennessee, folks, and these are new bands. See the new bands of snow back in Arkansas and all the way back into southeast Arkansas, heading into the Tennessee Valley. As the colder air aloft moves in, we're finally going to see this sleet change over to snow, and it looks to me as if southern Tennessee and extreme north Alabama could see an additional 4 to 6 inches of snow in some spots on top of all of this, and then add in the very cold air that's going to cut that up. The other one, there we go. Now that's what's going on right now. See the other snow bands, though, coming our way from north central Mississippi? Those are at times heavy. Here's another view. Is this an incredible picture or not? We still have sleet and snow in South Texas heading our way. The upper level storm center is not going to get by here until late tonight, so that means this will continue most of the day. It's really, in some sense, just beginning in parts of the Tennessee Valley, and it's going to last off and on. Now, look down in South Alabama. See the thunderstorms? See the red? Severe thunderstorms. They're issuing severe thunderstorm warnings down there with temperatures in the 50s, while we are in the low 20s. And it's still sleeting with freezing rain over in Memphis at this time. This is turning out to be an historic ice storm for the Tennessee Valley. We are still getting sleet here in the backyard. And Robert, Karen, meteorologically, this is even more unbelievable because I have never seen freezing rain at 22 degrees. To get that, you have to have an incredible layer of very cold air right near the ground. And then about 5,000 feet up, it's got to be 50 degrees. Now that just doesn't happen very often. It's happening this morning. It's just an unbelievable storm. And again, it's going to last most of the day. I advise anyone who's thinking about going to school or any of the superintendents listening and wondering, should I cancel school? It's no question. Keep everyone home today. This is going to be a bad day. Karen? Blowing it. Now this is happening all across the Tennessee Valley right now, and that's knocking down power lines. The thing is frozen so hard that if you kick the bush, it just breaks it in two. And and I have a feeling that's going to happen in a lot of the area. Start off with Doppler 19 radar. Boy, we've been watching this all night with the power outages and stuff. This radar, by the way, is being run on a generator right now. So is our transmitter. Here's what it looks like. This is all sleet in Jackson County, and it's really getting bad. Except extreme south Jackson County right along the river, it's just now getting bad, but most of western Jackson County is an icy mess. Winchester, Tennessee, the same thing. It's tapering off to just light snow and sleet in Lincoln County and very light across Lawrenceburg. It's too light to detect, but it's still light snow and Killen over toward the shoals. You get to Decatur and on down to the south. The heavy stuff is now south of Decatur and down toward the Hartselle area. It's really bad right now. Ice covering roads there. The roads are pretty much becoming impassable in many sections of Morgan County. Down toward the Gunnersville area, they stayed rain. They're just now trying to switch over to freezing rain. However, across the county, the trees have frozen, and the winds are now blowing those over, and many roads, I'm told, and just looking at some late data, are pretty much impassable down there. As we go on off toward the east, it's just now beginning to ice in most of DeKalb County. Geraldine, though, it's iced bad enough there, the power is out. I had a lot of reports of power outages, and we're going to see a lot more as the winds pick up and blow these very heavy ice-laden power lines back into each other. That's going to really start to kick off some problems. When it comes now, here's our batch just moving through. Here's another batch, and I think most of this is light snow, maybe some freezing sleet mixed in. This is rain and thunderstorms down to the south. Most of this is snow back toward Tupelo, Mississippi. By the way, if you have relatives in central Mississippi, this has been all the way down to Jackson. I'm getting reports of large amounts of power outages, so we're not alone. Mississippi hit very hard by this system. Here is our regional NEXRAD composite. This is done by a computer. It's my favorite graphic because it pretty much tells the whole story. We'll start off with severe thunderstorms right now in South Alabama. This is all sleet and snow in North Tennessee. They have 4 to 6 inches on the ground from Crossville back to Nashville, expecting another 5 or 10 tonight. Southern Tennessee, 2 to 3 inches of ice and snow mix. Expect another 5 to 6 possible before all is said and done. This is snow redeveloping back in Arkansas, more moisture coming up from the Gulf, and I might explain meteorologically what's going on because this is fascinating. At the surface, it's cold, you know, that 22 right now. You go up 5,000 feet, it's about 35 to 40 degrees. And that warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf is light. It's going up and over this very heavy, dense polar air near the ground. That lifting is causing that warm, moist air to cool off, squeezes the water out of it. But it's above freezing, so it's falling as rain, freezes on its way down, and that's why we're getting the sleet. Now, when that cold air gets deep enough, like back here in Arkansas, the cold air there is about 6,000 feet deep, then it turns to snow. Where it's real shallow, where the air is just a couple of thousand feet thick, the cold air, it's falling as rain, and then it falls all the way to the ground and then freezes on the ground, and that's the freezing rain going on to the south. That surface low, again, south of New Orleans, is going to track right up through here and then into the Carolinas, which is a perfect track for a winter storm in the Tennessee Valley. And I don't think we have to worry about forecasting that one because it's already happened. Here's a look at the satellite picture. Here's the snow band in Arkansas. And I know you're thinking, how can I see the states? You can't because there's so much cloud cover. I'll point you out, okay? Huntsville's here. The Shoals here. This is Arkansas. There's that snow band and freezing drizzle all the way down to Austin, Texas. Look at the storms firing in the Gulf of Mexico here. These are severe thunderstorms. They also put out an outlook for severe thunderstorms in central Florida today. They may be pretty bad. This is a new map, just drew it. This is what I think the total accumulation when this whole kit and caboodle is over with, and that may not be till midday tomorrow, when it's all over with. Lawrenceburg, Fayetteville, Pulaski, just north of the Shoals, 5 to 10 inches on the ground. From the Shoals down to Russellville, Town Creek, Athens, just north of Decatur, Huntsville, mainly Huntsville north and on up, and up toward Skyline and High Top, we're looking at 3 to 6 inches total. Decatur, Coleman, Grant, Ider, 1 to 4 inches. You folks in South Coleman, down toward Blount County, Boaz, Etowah, Gadsden, Cherokee County, we're looking at 1 to 2 inches. Combinations here of ice on the ground and sleet. This is just an incredible situation, one you're not likely to see again in the next 20 years. Temperatures are going to fall They're already pretty much below 28 in most locations. They were about 4 a.m. Now we're going to say temperatures in the low 20s by midday. And again, the total snowfall between 3 and 7. 1 to 4, and now I have upped that since I've done that map. Most areas will see 3 to 6 in Huntsville, Leicester. Temperatures still around 30 to 29 in Moulton. You'll be in the mid-20s before long, and I think it'll probably be in the teens by afternoon in Leicester, Huntsville, Deckard, and Skyline. Yes, I know I misspelled Deckard, and to be honest, folks, we've been too busy. I haven't had time to correct it. Off to the east, 1 to 2 inches down to the south, although the northern edge here is going to see more than that, and ice and snow by this afternoon across the area. Here's the 5-day forecast, and pretty much happy with this. We're going to go.
It is a mess. I'm going to gingerly make my way over to the weather board. See, cars, if they're parked under the trees, you need to watch out for a falling debris, especially if you're driving across the Tennessee Valley, but you don't need to be out. Longitude winds from the north at 7. It feels like 22. I wish I was there. 19 in Fayetteville with winds from the north at 17. Wind chill 10 degrees below 0. And it feels like all that once you step outdoors. It looks like a wintry wonderland, but it's not so much of wonderment once you step outdoors because things can be very dangerous. Power lines are just ice laden, so our trees, the ground is very slick. I probably won't do a lot of moving back and forth on the weather board. As we take a look at our exclusive Doppler night southeast, look at all this moisture, thunderstorms, and tornado watches going on along the Gulf. This is rain, Birmingham south. Hard to find the Tennessee Valley. This is a mixture of sleet and snow. It will continue to fall across the Tennessee Valley for the afternoon hours into the evening. We could pick up an additional 2 to 4 inches of the combination before it's all said and done by tonight. Moisture streaming northward from the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of energy along the Gulf with that low pressure system. We've got a cold front pushing in and over the Tennessee Valley, plunging cold Arctic air, freezing whatever moisture is over us. That's the reason why we have all this blowing snow and sleet mixture across the valley. Once it hits the ground, it will freeze upon impact. That's what makes driving so very tricky. And here's an estimate of what will happen across our immediate viewing area and from now until midnight. Lawrenceburg, Fayetteville, look to pick up an additional 5 to 10 inches. 3 to 6 from the Shoals, Athens to Huntsville. 1 to 4 from Ider, Grant, Decatur, and Russellville. 1 to 2 inches for Coleman and in Boaz. Here's a forecast for the remainder of the afternoon. Wendy Howell, Hazel Green, Tanner, Hartselle. Winter storm warning continues to remain into effect for this afternoon and tonight. Blowing winds from the north at 10 to 20 miles per hour and gusting in Belvedere, Garth, Pleasant Hill, and Arab. Dropping wind chill indices into the single digits. Tonight into the teens, and it just doesn't get any better for the Tennessee Valley. Our afternoon highs will make it into the 20s, but it will feel much cooler with the strong winds. It doesn't look like we'll see the let-up in flurries until Sunday, Karen.
Okay, thanks, Wendy.
The thing you need to know is coming up next on News Channel 19 at 5.
Weather, the man everyone in the Tennessee Valley wants to hear from right now is WHNT's chief meteorologist, Dan Satterfield.
That's right. Now, Dan, how much more of this snow and ice are we going to get?
Jerry, Lisa, I think the worst of the snow and ice is now just about over with. I think we could still see maybe an additional ½ inch. It's already beginning to taper down. However, I have to tell you, the cold air is going to come in. By tomorrow morning, we're going to see temperatures in the mid-teens. The winds out of the north at 20 to 40 miles an hour. That's going to give us wind chills of 20 to 35 below 0, and that is going to last right on through the day tomorrow, along with some snow flurries. But the accumulation of ice, freezing rain, sleet, and snow is now tapering off. Most of it's just going to be flurries, which will probably not give us any significant extra accumulation. That's what it looks like right now. Jerry, Lisa, this has been one unbelievable storm, hasn't it?
It has. At least the news is encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Dan. We'll check back with Dan Satterfield in just a minute.
Well, most schools were canceling classes for today.
And while most schools, of course, would be closed anyway for the weekend, we do have a few closings to pass on to you right now. UAH classes are canceled all weekend. I want to let you know that as well.
That's right. And they've also shut down the campus at the University of North Alabama in Florence. So both of those will neither have weekend classes this weekend.
Now, we do have crews all over the Tennessee Valley tonight. I want to remind you of that. We're checking into all areas of the valley to see what the conditions are like.
News Channel 19's Brian Magruder is in one of the areas hardest hit by the storm, Lincoln County, Tennessee. And Brian, what does it look like up there?
It's looking very white, Jerry and Lisa, because we're in the middle of an honest-to-goodness snowstorm. For those of you who've been tuning into News Channel 19, since 5 o'clock this morning, we arrived here in Park City to show you it was 20 degrees and sleeting. At noon, we came back, updated you, told you it was 19 degrees and sleeting. Take a look at it now. 15 degrees.
That's right. What's the driving like out there, buddy?
Well, we're having some problems with the audio, but I can tell you that the roads are just as bad, if not worse, than they've been all day. You can see the road surface. We're level with it. There's snow covering everything, and people are driving without chains. It seems kind of weird to me because I drove out here with chains, and I was darn glad to have them. Of course, people are being cautious for the most part, and if you can see right down there about a block away, there's a car off in the median. I've got to believe that's somebody who tried to make it and did not accomplish their goal of driving. But there is traffic on the roads in Huntsville. If you're going to get out, though, be very careful. There's no time for catting around out here, no time for speeding. Be very careful. Chains would be good. And I tell you the truth, the streets that haven't been scraped appear to me to be easier to drive on. Of course, that's with chains, and I don't know how it is if you don't have them. But it's going to get worse, folks, and the wind is blowing, which is another factor. It's blowing hard, and I understand it's going to blow harder, so be very careful.
Okay.
All right, Steve, thanks so much for that report. Sports department doubling in news tonight.
That's right. Here are some telephone numbers if you would like the latest information on road closings for Huntsville, Marshall County, Decatur, and Muscle Shoals. And I'll go ahead and give you the first two. For Huntsville, it's area
389-1401 for the very latest information on road conditions in the valley. Right now, though, we're going to check back in with our chief meteorologist, Dan Satterfield. Boy, is this a day for him at work or what?
Yeah, it's been a long, almost 48 hours, right, Dan?
I have had about 2 hours sleep, and it feels a lot better. The only really bad thing that's happened today is I came out to check the thermometer here in the backyard with a cup of Folgers coffee, which I ended up spilling all over my only clean pair of pants. So our executive producer, Bob Knowles, loaned me his blue jeans, folks. It's very slippery outside, and it's brutal. I guess the first thing we should mention here is the cold now is going to become the big factor here, and mainly because there are so many people who do not have power. I'm one of them. My wife and the kids are up in a hotel right now. The wind chill also, if you get out and you get stuck, the wind chill is just going to be incredible. Right now, here in the backyard, I've calculated a wind chill between 0 when the winds are dying down like they are now. When it gusts, we're getting a wind chill of 25 degrees below 0. We're going to show you a little bit of what happened to the backyard overnight here. Then we'll get in and take a look at the forecast. See this? This is a chart we used to set up the camera. I don't know anything more about it than that, except that it's ruined because it's covered in ice. Now, also, follow me over here. If you can look at my feet here, you know, this is unbelievable. You know, normally you'd think that, well, this is snow, but see, you don't step down into it. This is just hard-packed ice now. Maybe a little bit of light snow on top of it that came through a little earlier. And then the reason the power is out, look at this tree. It is just covered in ice. I want to walk over here, and I don't know if you can see this at home. And, you okay? Okay. Here, back up. Okay. My cameraman in a little trouble there. Just stay right there. It's very, very slippery out here. And we're not going to do that because I don't want him to fall right now. He's carrying that big camera on his back, and it's kind of dangerous out here. But you can just kind of see this tree is just covered in ice. And that is the way it is everywhere. And if we'd have had another 2 hours of freezing rain before it turned over to sleet, it would have been even worse. I think most of us would be without power instead of, maybe a third of us right now. What's going to happen? It's just going to get cold. Here are the current conditions. 19 degrees in Huntsville. The Shoals at 19. The dew point, 15 Huntsville, 12 in the Shoals. The winds north averaging between 10 and 15, but gusting now to over 20. Gadsden is 25. The colder air having a tough time getting east, but it's getting there. Fayetteville, Tennessee at 16, dew point 11. North winds averaging 19, your wind chill well below 0, about 10 to 15 below. Pressures are rising, and the ceiling is lifting here in the backyard. We're just now down to flurries. And we may see some light snow pickup overnight, but no significant additional accumulations. And radar, it's pretty much clear now. We were seeing a few things, but that's now pretty much on out of here. Well, boy, this is just an unbelievable storm. As you know, a state of emergency declared in North Alabama because of this storm. You can see the end of the snow moving right across us here in the last hour. But look out here. Yeah, there's a little bit more trying to come in. That's an upper air disturbance, what we call the vorticity in the upper levels of the atmosphere, the spin of the air. That causes the air to rise. Anytime you lift air, you get a chance of clouds and precipitation. And even though the air is bone dry back here, the lift is lifting up some flurries just in southern Arkansas, and that may swing right across us tonight. That is why I'm going to keep a chance of some flurries or light snow in the forecast. Down to the south, all of Georgia getting pounded by heavy rains. There's tornado watches in South Georgia and Florida, and they are seeing severe thunderstorms bowing. See that little bow echo right there? It's kind of behind the crawl, but that's moving across central Florida right now, and they are having some severe weather out of that. Behind it, though, it is ending as rain in southeast Alabama, as snow in northeast Tennessee. Let me bring you up to date on some of the road conditions as I know them, okay? Nashville has about 6 to 8 inches on the ground. The Cumberland Plateau over Crossville, much more than that, and it is just impassable. More northeast Tennessee, up toward Knoxville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tri-Cities, Bristol, Virginia. 16 inches of snow on the ground, and it's still going to snow some more for them. For us, though, the worst of the snow and the sleet, the freezing rain in this winter storm is now pretty much, I think, over with. But the cold air is going to last for a while, probably right on into Tuesday before we get above freezing. Look at these storms down in the Gulf of Mexico. There, see the high, the bright white clouds? Those are the high clouds, the elevated clouds that are producing precipitation. The low clouds, though, extend well back into Oklahoma and Texas, so I don't think we're going to clear out much. Tomorrow, I imagine to be one of those days with a gusty north wind all day, bitter cold. The sun may break through, and then it might cloud up and flurry a little bit. That's pretty much what you can expect for tomorrow. So we'll go for variable clouds and bitter Arctic air. This high here is just incredible. They broke the all-time record low in Montana, 60 degrees below zero today, and I think historic records are going to tumble all across the plains and deep south as this cold air comes down. It looks like a pretty good snow for the East Coast. It's not going to go right up the coast. It's going to go a little out, so that's going to spare the New England states and New York from a major blizzard like they had earlier in the year. The milder weather will be out west, but anywhere east of the Rockies all the way down into central Florida is going to be in the deep freeze. Look at some of these lows tonight, 30 to 40 below, all the way down to Iowa, 25 below, down into northern Missouri, minus 15 in Guyman, Oklahoma, single digits in Oklahoma City, single digits all the way down into Kentucky, and we'll be in the low teens here. Here's the forecast lows tonight: 11 Fayetteville and Pulaski, 10 Waynesboro, 17 in Coleman, 14 in Huntsville, 16 in Fort Payne. Tomorrow, here are the numbers: 18 Leatherwood, 19 in Loretto. These are highs. 18 in High Top, 23 Coleman, 22 in the Shoals. Wind chills again below zero. Here's the 5-day forecast for you. We'll go for 8 on Sunday morning. High clouds, but clearing generally on Sunday. Monday morning low 9, high 29. We get above freezing. I might be optimistic, but you know, what the heck. Let's go for 40 on Tuesday and upper 40s on Wednesday. This is a storm we're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah.
I think so. And boy, you told us about it too, Dan. I mean, several days ago, he pegged it.
We had time to prepare, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Right. Thanks, Dan.
Air over North Alabama, and when that happens, boy, these snow bands can develop, and some areas could get over an inch additional accumulation out of this. We're going to have to watch it to make sure this snow band doesn't expand. All right, let's show you the current conditions, and we're going to update some of these for you. Huntsville now down to 18 degrees. I can tell you the winds are now 15 steady, gusting to 25 here in the backyard. Our wind chill about 15 below zero. The Shoals at 19 with light snow flurries, occasional light snow. Dew point 12. Gadsden is 25, dew points at 20. Fayetteville 16 with light snow. Looks like the worst of the band is just past Fayetteville now. Dew point there at 11. Welcome into a very cold backyard. Let's show you Doppler 19 radar. Now here's the band right over us right now, right over the city. Then it extends on up into Jackson County and then on up into the higher elevations of Franklin County. South Franklin County gets up there elevation-wise up above 1,600, 1,700 feet. I'd say it's really coming down up there. They may have another inch to 2 inches of snow out of this band. Down to the south, this is probably some freezing rain and sleet down in northern Blount and Coleman counties. Back off to the west, there's another batch. Let's show you the NEXRAD composite this afternoon, and we'll show you also, if we can, the Columbus, Mississippi NEXRAD. And this is some view. There's another batch of light snow with the main upper-level storm center, and that may swing across us tonight. See these snow bands developing here in the last few minutes, those last couple of frames right there? Oh, they may expand, so this could go for a little bit. Here's the satellite picture. You can see some of those little snow bands, too, starting to show up here on the satellite. Big storms in Florida. Broke an all-time record low in Minnesota, the coldest temperature ever recorded in the state of Minnesota, and that air is heading south. How low was it? 60 degrees below zero in Minnesota, and that Arctic air is plunging right on down. Here's the numbers for tonight. I'm going to go for a low of 10 in Waynesboro, 12 in the Shoals, 14 Decatur and Huntsville, Scottsboro 18, maybe a little lower, Guntersville at 17, Fayetteville at least 11, still snowing out here, Coleman at 17. Your backyard tomorrow, I'm going to put it all in one map tonight. High of 18 in Leatherwood with occasional flurries, 22 in the Shoals, Good Springs at 22, Coleman at 23, Rainsville a high of 20. High Top will only make 18 in North Jackson County. In Lynchburg, the high at 18. By Sunday morning, we're going to be down to 8 degrees. You folks up in southern Tennessee with the deep ice and snow cover could go to 0 or below. The high on Sunday, 22, but mainly just high clouds. Monday, still cold in the morning with that Arctic high right over us. We'll have incredible radiation, radiational cooling as we call it. By Monday afternoon, though, we should start to moderate, get close to 30. A big jump on Tuesday, and almost normal weather returns, if we're lucky, by Wednesday.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Seems like a long time anyway. All right, Dan, thanks.
Well, the temperatures are dropping as we speak, and with that, Huntsville utilities desperately need your help. Utility crews need you to conserve energy tonight and tomorrow morning so they can keep lights and heat on. Huntsville Utilities is asking that you set your thermostat at 65 degrees and conserve the use of major appliances such as water heaters, washers, dryers, and ovens. Huntsville Utilities spokesman Bill Yell spoke with us this afternoon about the desperate situation.
Storm, that is one of the most devastating weather events that can happen to an electric utility. It's compared to what you would see on the Gulf Coast in a hurricane. Basically, what you do is you rebuild. That's all you can do.
Crews from Decatur and Athens have come to the Madison County area to assist with the power problems. Well, if you are one of the thousands of people that still don't have power tonight, utility companies have a message for you. Be patient. Trees are still falling on power lines throughout the valley. Outside crews from Tennessee and South Alabama were called in to help restore power. In Arab, they have 6,000 people without power and will take several days before it will be restored. In Marshall and DeKalb County, power should be restored by tomorrow. 1,500 people are without power in those areas. And in Coleman County, 40% of the city is without power. If your power is off, turn off all your major appliances. You can turn them back on gradually once you get power. If everything comes on at once, it could overload circuits and knock the power out again. Well, the Huntsville Hospital asked that you leave your sled inside. Sledding accidents are causing a backup for nurses and doctors at the hospital. The emergency room is packed with people waiting to be treated because they tumbled off their sled or lost control of it. Those sled rides are also interfering with ambulance services. MC ambulance workers say they had to dodge sledders to answer emergency calls. Well, a DeKalb County man is dead today. His sister in the hospital because of fumes from a gas floor furnace. Geraldine police say 34-year-old Donnie Satterfield died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Apparently, ice blocked the heater's vent, trapping gas, fumes, and carbon monoxide in the home. His sister, Judy Satterfield, recovers in a Birmingham hospital. At least 4 other people have been treated for carbon monoxide poisoning because of fumes from gasoline generators. At Huntsville Hospital Friday, M.D. Smith and his wife of Huntsville were treated for carbon monoxide poisoning. M.D. Smith is a community leader known to many as the owner of Channel 31. Also, 83-year-old James Sisk and his 80-year-old wife, Sylvester of Hazel Green, were treated at Huntsville Hospital. News Channel 19's Wendy Howell-Nations talked with the Sisk family, who say the couple is lucky to be alive.
He wasn't alert at all. I mean, This Hazel Green grandmother is lucky to be alive. Fumes from a gasoline-powered generator almost killed her. Family members found 80-year-old Sylvester Sisk and her 83-year-old husband James just in time. They were disoriented at their Madison County home.
She wasn't really herself, and different family and friends come in, and they figured that's probably what had happened and started opening up windows.
Huntsville Hospital put the Sisks inside this hyperbaric chamber. It's sort of like a high-tech pressure cooker that pumps the bloodstream full of oxygen. This device, combined with a lucky visit from the Sisks' granddaughter, saved the couple's lives. Family members tell me the elderly couple was using a gasoline-powered generator in their garage, and the fumes apparently got into the house. The Tennessee Valley has been hit hard with icy roads, downed power lines, and severe cold temperatures. But if your idea is securing the house tightly to warm up and firing up the kerosene heater and generators, think again. You could end up here.
This is a serious problem, and I can only recommend people to have a well-ventilated area, not to use kerosene-type heaters or gasoline-powered generators in an enclosed area.
Doctors here at Huntsville Hospital suggest that if you're going to use a gasoline-powered generator or a kerosene heater, buy a carbon monoxide detector as well. It could save your life, just as family members saved this couple. Wendy Howell-Nations, News Channel 19, Huntsville.
All flights in and out of Huntsville International Airport are grounded. The airport closed today at 1 o'clock, beginning emergency operations.
Temperature that could melt a good bit of this. And what we have on the ground is packed in. I mean, it is hard. It's like standing on a solid surface. You can't even just barely dig a hole in it. News Channel 19's Trey Thomas brought this back to me in the Weather Center just a little while ago. Said he brought this so that he could head home, no problems getting his car cleaned up. That's how hard the ice is, folks. That's solid too, and just chipped it right off there. So definitely some hard ice out there to deal with. As it melts a little and refreezes, the roads actually get worse, a much worse situation than they were yesterday. Some areas, they've graded away what snow and ice that was on top of the flat frozen ice on the road surface. That's gone, so as you approach the intersections, you're dealing with some very, very slick surfaces. So if you don't have to get out and travel, please don't do so. Let's take a look at where we are at the 5 o'clock hour. Then we'll take a look at that forecast. 15 degrees here in Huntsville. We've got 18 over in the Shoals, 14 in Lawrenceburg, 13 up in Fayetteville. The dew points below zero in a couple of places in the Shoals and in Lawrenceburg, also in Fayetteville. -2 up around Pulaski, 2 below in Fayetteville, 1 below for Waynesboro, even 2 below possible over around the hills and mountains in Franklin County around Russellville. It's definitely going to be a cold one, right around zero for most everybody. There is a wind chill advisory in effect tonight for the entire state of Alabama, so definitely take precautions. We're going to see wind chills possibly 10 to 20 below tonight.
45,000 people were without power last night. The number has dropped to 25,000. National Guard troops spent the day clearing roads so the Tennessee Valley Authority repair crews could reach the lines. In Huntsville, 800 people still without electricity. All power in Huntsville is expected to be back on sometime tomorrow. In Lawrence and in Morgan County, most of the power has been restored. That is not the case in Arab. Electric Co-op says several thousand customers are without power. Many lines have to be rebuilt. More than 200 workers from across the southeast have been brought in to help. It will still be several days before all Co-op customers will have power. Well, if you are one of the fortunate people who do have power and you want to keep it on, utility companies ask you to listen up. Customers are urged to conserve energy by keeping your thermostat at 65 degrees. Car accidents at the same time. Just how dangerous are the roads? We'll show you.
You're watching News Channel 19 on WHNT, where local news comes first.
We set some records. In fact, down to 1 degree this morning here in Huntsville. That beat an old record of 7 degrees on this date. They had a low, I think, of 7 in Birmingham. That was a new record. Also down in Mobile, they were down to, I think, 11 degrees overnight. So definitely the entire state of Alabama setting records with this cold snap that's come through. And we're going to have to endure it for just a little while longer, maybe 24 more hours before we get some real relief. Here we are at the 5 o'clock hour officially in Huntsville, 13 degrees. Shoals at 15, Lawrenceburg is at 14, and Fayetteville reporting in at 10. The dew points 3 below and 6 below at Huntsville, Shoals, and Lawrenceburg, 8 below at Fayetteville.
Skycam 19. From this vantage point, you can certainly get a good look at what this winter weather has done to northwest Alabama. Take a look. This is even a couple of days after the ice and snow. Traffic on Florence Boulevard still moving along at a snail's pace westbound. Eastbound, it's fairly clear. A lot of the store parking lots still iced over. A lot of businesses still closed up, despite the fact that a lot of them need money to keep in business. But folks are out on the road. We've seen a lot of cars in ditches. We've seen a lot of tow trucks at work. Some state troopers at some accident scenes where people have just lost control on the ice that's still there. We have seen some state grader crews out putting some sand and trying to grade off some more of the ice as the sun begins to melt it. But the road's still very dangerous to be on. We're now crossing over by Hermitage Drive in Florence, Hermitage and Florence Boulevard, and you can see that some of the neighborhood streets still look the same as they did 2 days ago, still covered with a solid pack of ice and snow. So again, if you don't have to be out on the roadways, today's another good day to just stay at home. Video stores allowing a little extra time for folks to bring those videos back. One thing I can say that's positive out here, if some of you like me have been waiting on a paycheck in the mail, the U.S. Mail is out delivering mail for the first time in a couple days again today. So we have some thawing to look forward to in the next couple days, but for now, it's something to look at, but not something you want to drive on. For News Channel 19, I'm Kevin Yodges reporting from Skycam 19.